This review is made possible by the Restored Rusty Relics Car Club of North New Jersey. If you're in the New Jersey or New York area, please check them out and consider joining the club. They do monthly events, meetings, and have formed a community around these awesome vintage cars. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1965 Ford Ranchero. Up front is a 4.9 liter V8, and down below is a 3-speed automatic transmission. Now, I'm super excited to be driving this Ranchero because I haven't driven anything of this era before. Back in the day, this actually came out in 1957 as the Ford Ranchero, and they made them all the way up through the 70s. But it's such an interesting classification of car, at least for us Americans. Now, over in Australia, this is pretty commonplace. They call these utes. But here, not so much. And so I'm excited to dive into this awesome piece of American history with you today. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 302 under the hood. Well, that's not the original engine. This originally would have came with a 4.7, aka the 289 V8 under the hood. So this has been swapped out at some point in its life, but they're not really that different of engines, at least in the grand scheme of it all. It's a wonderful engine, and power is definitely not lacking here in the Ranchero, which is quite lovely to see and feel. Now, like I said, paired to it is a Ford Cruise-O-Matic, which is a 3-speed, and this is also known as the green dot transmission, because as you'll see on the little selector, you put the indicator on the green dot, and that means it is in drive. Last but not least, the Ranchero is rear-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive a Ford Ranchero? Well, it's based off the Ford Falcon. It actually shares a platform with the Ford Falcon, which also shares a platform in parts with the early Ford Mustangs. So immediately I think, oh, I'm just driving a Mustang, but it actually doesn't quite drive like that. It's sprung quite a bit heavier, it's a lot stiffer of a ride, and it's a little bit less forgiving where the Mustang is. Now, I haven't driven a Ford Falcon, but I actually spent this morning, to peel back the curtain a little bit, I drove 2 Ford Mustangs this morning, and you could tell right away that this feels much more heavy duty and a lot more truck-like than those other vehicles. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 2 gauges and a wide speedometer. So off to the left is my fuel, off to the right is my coolant temperature, and then I get that big old speedometer right in the center. The steering wheel is out of a Ford Falcon. That's why it says Falcon in the center instead of Ranchero. But like I said, they shared platforms and they shared a lot of parts, so it just bolted right in. Off to the left, I do have my lights and wipers. And moving out of the door, we have the latch to get in and out and crank for the windows. Moving into the center, we have an aftermarket radio because radios from this era don't keep up with modern tech. As well as we have our heater controls off to the left of the ashtray. And that's pretty much it. You know, not a whole lot in these interiors back in the day. Not many options and not many gizmos, but that's actually sort of been a saving grace of these trucks. The owner has added a aftermarket cup holder, so we will do a big friggin' model test, and it does technically pass. Sort of, it kind of tilts over, but also it's not factory equipment, so we can't give it a full pass, but still kind of unique to see here in the Ford Ranchero. Then we have the bench seat, nice, calm, collected, and comfortable. No side bolstering, not holding you in at all, but trucks up until really the mid-2000s had seats just like this, so fully to be expected. Now, we don't have any back seats, but we will talk about the bed, and that's what made the Ranchero so special, is that it was a Ford Falcon with a bed. And so here it is. It does have a traditional tailgate, all that stuff. And of the exterior, the owner did do a 2-tone paint job. This isn't how the paint came from the factory, but I really enjoy the look of it. And this is known as the 2nd generation of the Ranchero, but the earlier ones were kind of curvy and bubbly, and so this is the more square body version. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a Ford Ranchero? Well, like I said with the looks, the bed is what made this car so special. They manufactured these from 1957 until 1979, of which the oil crisis and what was going on in that era really killed this truck, unfortunately. But why would Ford build something like this? What's the purpose of a vehicle like this? Well, back in the 1930s, when vehicles were starting to become more and more mass-produced, in order to make trucks, Ford would take coupe bodies of, say, the Model A. Here's a Model A pickup truck. They would take a coupe body, chop it up a little bit, and add a bed. That was just how they did things. It was a cost-saving mechanism, and boom, you have a truck with very little legwork. Well, they didn't do that throughout the 40s and most of the 50s because the war... El Camino! I just saw an El Camino! And I'm in a Ranchero! What are the odds? Sorry, getting back to my point. Ford started producing this in the late 50s as a pickup truck for people that needed to haul things. Again, the Ford F-Series at this point in time was very rudimentary. It was much like owning a tractor that you could technically take into town, but it wasn't much more than that. 1950s trucks were appliances through and through. Well, this could be driven in town and country. This was a one and done vehicle. Someone could buy this and haul lumber or bales of hay or any combination and still drive it down to the corner store. That's actually what the owner of this Ranchero uses it for. Not specifically hay and such, but he's used this for mulch, and he's moved houses in it. He's driven it across the country, puts his dogs in the back. This is a runner. And the owner of this, Steve, which thank you, Steve, for letting me take out your Ranchero, he's owned Mustangs and other old Ford products. He's a Ford guy. And so this was another piece of the puzzle. He literally needed a pickup truck and thought, all right, well, Ranchero will do. And so here we are today. At the end of the day, I am so incredibly thankful I was able to take out this Ranchero. Such a unique piece of history. Steve has been wonderful to work with, such a down-to-earth guy, lovely to chat with, and I was just so excited to share this piece of history. I mean, when was the last time you saw a Ford Ranchero with your own two eyes? Well, here is one in HD. Like I said, huge thank you to Steve, one of a kind, and I appreciate him very, very much. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.